This is Dr. Kathryn Dow reporting for Room Now. I'm at the ACR 2020 virtual meeting, and I think this is the year when they really talk about women's health and pregnancy outcomes. There's this really good meta-analysis of axial spondyloarthritis, psoriatic arthritis, over 4,000 pregnancies. And they found that in these patients, they're at increased risk for preterm labor, small gestational age, as well as for C-sections. But rarely, there's no change in miscarriages, stillbirth, or gestational diabetes. So that's actually reassuring. In another study, this is abstract 1762, they were looking at very, very young rheumatic disease patients. So these are patients who are under the age of 21 who get pregnant. What are their outcomes? Do they have higher complications risk, or what happens to them? So it's interesting. This is a study by UCSF and UCSD, and they looked at 1,700, a little bit over 1,700 pregnant women under the age of 25. And 394 of them actually were under 21 years old. Okay. And they found that the younger women, so the ones under the age of 21, they had less risk for gestational diabetes and less risk for C-section, but they did have an increased risk for preterm labor. All right. So these young patients can actually get pregnant and do pretty well, but you got to monitor them for preterm labor. And then Dr. Michelle Petrie presented her abstract, 1770, and what she looked at is that sometimes it's hard for patients with lupus to achieve complete remission before they get pregnant. So she wanted to see whether or not just low lupus disease activity might actually be okay. And so she followed these patients who had low lupus disease activity, and actually there wasn't really an increased risk for maternal or fetal mortality. And these patients actually did very well. So low lupus disease activity may probably be a more realistic pre-pregnancy clinical goal compared to remission, which might be difficult to achieve. So there you have it, pregnancy in rheumatic diseases. This is Dr. Kathryn Dow reporting for Room Now. Follow me on Twitter at KDow2011.